I have sought recognition to discuss a number of amendments which I will be proposing to offer. I intend to offer an amendment on emission caps because of my concern that the emission caps which are set in the Lieber-Warner bill cannot be obtained. I believe that the problem of global warming is, Mr. President, the Senate is not in order.
Senate, come to order, please. Senator from Pennsylvania.
I believe that global warming is a major problem and we ought to deal with it, but I think we have to deal with it within the realistic bounds as to what the technology would permit. And it is going to be very difficult to get 60 votes to impose cloture, and if a legislative proposal is on the floor which is unattainable, we're going to end up getting nothing. So that it is my intention to take the emission caps from the Bingham and Specter bill and to offer them as an amendment to the Lieberman-Warner bill. I intend to offer a second amendment as to cost containment safety valve amendment. This amendment will include the so-called technology accelerator mechanism, which has been included in the Bingham and Specter bill and will provide a very, very important safeguard on the legislation. I intend to offer a third amendment on international competitiveness. It is vital that we not structure legislation which will put the United States industry at a substantial disadvantage. On February 14th, I testified before the Senate Finance Committee on this subject, noting that China would like to have 30 years, and by that time there will be no steel industry, and that there have to be restrictions on no steel illustratively coming in to the United States, and this amendment on international competitiveness will deal with that subject. I intend further to offer an amendment caption process gas emission because there is no technological alternative to a company's annual requirement to submit emission analysis. And finally, there is a potential fifth amendment which I am not yet certain about, and that would involve the pathway to the future for a coal amendment. The statement was made earlier the past half hour about senators not understanding this bill. I think that is a real problem. This is an extraordinarily complex bill, and we have had the Warner-Lieberman bill, then we have had the Boxer bill, a second bill, and now I understand there's going to be a third substitute. So that as we are working through the amendments which I have articulated, it is a difficult matter with the topography changing and with the underlying bill changing. It is my hope that this bill will remain on the floor with procedures to give senators sufficient time to take up the very important matters which are at hand. And the first and most fundamental one is to have enough debate so that there is an understanding of the bill. And I agree with my distinguished colleague from Virginia, Senator Warner, who a few moments ago asked for time that there could be a debate and an exchange. Too often speeches are made on this floor without an opportunity for debate and questioning and cross-questioning to get to the very important matters. There has been some speculation that the procedure will be employed by the majority leader, so-called filling the tree, which would preclude further amendments. I hope that that will not be done here. Regrettably, it has become a commonplace practice, going back with Republican majority leaders and Democratic majority leaders, so that the filling of the tree has made a very fundamental change in Senate procedure, which traditionally has been that a senator could offer an amendment on any subject at any time and get a vote. And when the tree is filled, then obviously the matters cannot be debated, and efforts for cloture cannot move forward. This is a matter which has awaited a fair amount of time. It is complex, and if senators are not able to offer amendments, such as the amendments which I am proposing to offer, there's no way to really find out what the merits of the bill, what the merits are, and what the merits of the amendments are. We have seen on the subject of filling the tree, I've had for months now an amendment, rules change filed with the Rules Committee, which would alter the authority of the majority leader to employ the procedure so-called of filling the tree. Another concern which is related has been the shift in the practice of the Senate on the filibusters. There had been a tradition in the Senate when somebody offered a bill and there was opposition, and the opposition intended to conduct a filibuster, that is, to deny a vote unless 60 votes were obtained to cut off debate, that there would be that kind of debate. Most recently, we have seen a practice employed that if someone says there is an intent to have a filibuster, that there is a motion to proceed for cloture on a filibuster, there is a 20-minute vote. If cloture is not invoked, and the matter is eliminated. Recently, we had a very, very serious piece of legislation coming to the floor which sought to change a ruling of the Supreme Court of the United States on the rights of women to obtain relief, where the Supreme Court had imposed a 6-month statute of limitation in a situation where the woman who sought relief didn't even know she had a cause of action within the 6 weeks. Well, that matter came and went so fast on the Senate floor, nobody knew what it was about. Had the proponents of that legislation debated it, brought it to public attention, had the opponents of the legislation who wanted to filibuster it engaged in extended debate, the public would have understood what was going on. So the matter of having adequate time to debate this very complex legislation is very important. And if there is to be any possibility of finding 60 senators to coalesce around a cloture petition, 60 senators to agree on legislation, senators are going to have an opportunity to offer their amendments. There is great therapy in being able to offer an amendment even if it is not accepted. But we can hardly engage in a practice of filling the tree where senators are not permitted to offer amendments and expect to have this bill move forward, people understand it, and find 60 senators who are willing to come together on a very important legislation which is at hand. Mr. President, I ask unanimous consent that there be included in the record at this time a summary of the sheet of the 5 potential amendments I intend to offer, an explanation of the amendment on the cost containment safety valve, an explanation on the amendment on international competition, an explanation on the amendment on process gas emissions, and the single sheet which explains the proposal on a possible amendment pathway to future expanded use of coal.
Without objection, so ordered.
I thank the chair and yield the floor.
Mr. President,